So, welcome everyone, and especially everyone who has been following me and knows that I never do content in English because I'm Dutch, as you might hear. Um, I'm gonna switch to English content because my vision is so much bigger than just the Netherlands. So, please bear with me. Um, and yeah, I'd love to share more about some of the lessons that I've learned during my entrepreneurship journey. So, something that I'm so passionate about, and I have always been passionate about this, is the connection between entrepreneurship and inner work. So, I don't believe that these two are separate. And just to give you a little introduction, I have been an entrepreneur for 5 years. And during that time, I've tried so many things. I've tried business consulting, which I'm still doing. I have set up multiple businesses in, for example, sustainability. I've set up a business in AI consultancy. I've done one-on-one coaching. And I've also been a teacher and teaching about psychology and mental health in high schools and universities. But, anyways, the point is that within the whole journey, there has always been a couple of things that I have always loved. So, those are the psychology part and the entrepreneurship part. But there are just a couple of things that I wish someone had told me sooner. And the first one that I want to share, so this video is also for everyone who wants to start their own business and or wants to grow their own business and feels like they need some more education on it, or they want to learn and they want to do something that brings them also further in their personal journey. So the first lesson is that always keep a network around of people that support you. And that sounds so so cliche, but something that I'm noticing is that when you're going to start your own company and you want to be an entrepreneur, there are going to be people that will support you, but there will also be a lot of people that won't. And I think it's very easy to feel kind of lonely in the journey. So to give you an example, in my own experience, when I started my own company, there were a lot of people that were really excited, and also people that were close to me. They said like, "Oh, you can do this, and it's going to be so much fun." But the more I was growing, at some point, I also started to notice not everyone was actively supporting me. And don't get me wrong, we don't have to be the center of everything. So people have a life, okay? But I also noticed that sometimes it might trigger other people. And if you're just starting out, try to follow the right people that encourage you, even if they are people that you've never met. So, something that I'm doing is I always love watching YouTube videos of other entrepreneurs. I love listening to podcasts or reading books. And yeah, especially when I feel low, I think it's so important to get the energy from someone that inspires you. So that's something that I would really recommend. And don't stop. If you don't get the support from someone close to you or someone that you thought you were gonna get, don't stop. Just keep going and try to get the encouragement from somewhere else. Then number two. So this topic, I'm from the Netherlands. Anyone who is from the Netherlands and is watching this, you know. We have this culture in the Netherlands where we don't really talk about salaries. For some reason, it is always very impolite to ask someone, "What is your salary?" Like it's not okay to do that here in the Netherlands. But at the same time, something else that at least I experience here in the Netherlands, you might have heard the expression "let's go Dutch," which means splitting the bill. But here in the Netherlands, I feel like a lot of our culture is built around, I wouldn't say greed, but I'm trying to find a word. It's more, okay, let's just keep my money to myself and let's not share what my salary is. So that's something that really is happening in the Netherlands. We don't talk about that. However, if you're an entrepreneur, money is something that we have to talk about. And yet there are so many people that feel extremely uncomfortable talking about it. And I just realized why that is. Money is related in some way to self worth. And let me explain that. So, I think that most people feel uncomfortable speaking about how much money they make because they're afraid it says something about them and about their worth. And I feel like a lot of people might feel like, oh, if you are making more money than me, then that might mean that you are above me. So that's something that I really just realized that that's how a lot of people work, and that's not a bad thing. But it is important to realize that the more you invest in your self worth, the more you will see how your business is growing. And this is something that I had to learn from my own experience. So when I just started with my own business, I remember I was talking to this business coach and he was asking me, okay, you want to be a coach? What do you want your hourly rate to be? And I thought, I don't know, maybe 50 euros. And this is such a long time ago. I think I was probably about 20 years old. And he said, 50 euros. You're gonna coach someone and you're gonna ask for 50 euros an hour. And I said, okay, maybe that's too much. And he said, no, no. And so if you're starting out and you're thinking about, okay, what am I gonna ask to clients? You need to know that there is a connection between your self-worth and how much money you dare to ask. And also, not only that, it's connected to your self-worth, but it's also connected to receiving. Hello, everyone who is joining right now. I was just talking about how money is connected to self-worth, and if you are starting your own business, that it's really important to get this connection. So the more I got experience within my companies, and the more I did the inner work, the more comfortable I was with receiving money myself. So if you have trouble with receiving money or asking for higher prices if you have your own company, then really ask yourself, what am I afraid of? What is it? Are you afraid that people might say, is that what you're going to ask me? I'm never going to pay that. Or you're not worth it. Or that's ridiculous. Or maybe it could also be that you get sort of that you feel this tension like, okay, if I'm going to ask this money, I have to deliver. Because obviously we don't want to scam people. Let's be honest. We just want to make sure that what we bring to the table is valued. So, anyways, it's something that I'm really, really passionate about and something that I've done a lot of work on with my own clients. Because once you realize that you get to receive and that you are worth the money and that things can be easier instead of trying to make everything so difficult for ourselves, then you start to understand what is happening and how to work with it. So that's something to really look into. And I wish that someone had told me before, so that someone told me, you don't need to look at average prices. You don't need to look at an average way of designing your business. You just have to do what feels good and believe that you do bring the value. And if you feel like you don't bring enough value yet, then go and learn the skill. Something I also love is that if you have your own company or you want to be an expert in something, you have to love learning. Because something I think it was Myron Golden. For anyone who's into all these other business YouTubers, his name is Myron Golden. He's so charismatic and he has so much experience. And he said something like, if you're not growing, you're dying. So if your business is not growing, you're dying. If you're not getting healthier, you're getting sicker. And that's something that stuck with me because I feel like if you have your own business, you need to love learning. If you want to bring more value to the table and you want to be better for your clients or for whatever you do, it's important that you keep on learning. And so one of my businesses is a AI consultancy firm. And like I said, I love entrepreneurship. In the end, I don't even really care what it is as long as I can build something, and do something that actually helps other people. And that's not in a, you hear that all the time, like, oh, I just want to help people. But I'm serious. I don't think there's anything that feels better than genuinely helping someone. So with this AI company, I had to learn a lot. So when I just started this company, it came from a sort of pain. I mean, a little bit of a backstory. Last year, in the beginning of last year, I had to move in with my parents, and I have not lived with my parents for about 10 years. I always lived abroad. I lived in Australia. I lived in France, in Spain, in Italy, and of course also in the Netherlands. But I had to move back in because my relationship ended back then. So I was very happy that I could stay with my parents, of course, but it also gave me the opportunity to really observe how my parents are living right now. As an adult, I look very different at my parents than when I was 12 or 13. But I started to notice that my dad, he was coming home every night, and the weeks were passing, and I thought, you look so tired. I don't think you're doing really well. So I would ask him, hey, Dad, are you okay? Is there something that I can help with? And he told me, I'm fine. It's just work. So my dad is an entrepreneur as well. He's honestly one of the strongest men that I know. But I felt like, okay, something is off here. So what happened? One night, I think after 3 or 4 weeks of living there, one night I woke up at 2 a.m. and I heard this sound downstairs, and I looked at my phone and I saw, okay, it's 2 a.m. I'm going to go downstairs. And I just felt in my gut, this is no good. This is just no good. So I walked downstairs, walked into the kitchen, and I saw my dad. And he was standing there and he saw me and he just collapsed. So one of the strongest men that I know was just in my arms crying, and I thought, what in the world is going on? So I asked him, what's going on, Dad? What can I do for you? And he said, it's just, as an entrepreneur, I have so many responsibilities. I have all these families that I have to provide for. I have, and as in the employees that have families, and then I have my own family. And just mind you, I have 8 brothers and sisters. We are with 9 kids, so it's a lot. And he said, sometimes I feel like I want someone to just lean on, and because I am the man of this family, I feel like there's nowhere where I can go. Oh my God, when I heard that, my heart just broke. I think it's different for everyone, but I think everyone deep down loves their parents so, so much. And I do too. And I heard that and I saw him, and well, we talked for a while, and then I went back to bed. And then the morning after, I thought, I need to do something. I had all this knowledge of AI. I don't have a technical background though, but I always loved optimization. I was playing around with it, and I said, okay, I'm going to do something. I'm just going to learn everything that I can about AI, about building agents, about creating workflows, about how it works. And then I'm going to help my dad. And that's what I did. So now we are 1 year later, and I've trained his employees to work with AI. We've built some agents, and we are seeing a lot of positive results within this company. And the reason why I'm telling you this story is because if you have something that you can help someone with, especially if it comes from a place of perhaps pain or anything else, it can be the fire that really keeps you going and can help you grow a business. And for something like this, learning is very important because, like I said, I knew nothing about AI before I really dove into it. And I wouldn't say that AI, like the whole technical stuff, is my passion, but what is my passion is helping other entrepreneurs to create a better business. So that's what I've been doing. And then, well, eventually I started working as an AI consultant. And even though I love it, it's one of my businesses that I'm very passionate about. I always still use the psychology because my background is in psychology and I've always loved inner work. I've loved to learn why do people do what they do. I love asking people questions why their behavior is the way it is. So that's something that's really valuable. And I can keep going about this whole story. But most important thing, make sure that you love learning. And then try to find something that you can do to help someone else. Now I'm thinking about other lessons that I wish someone had told me, and I think I couldn't have done all the business stuff and all the dealing with everything that comes with it, also in relationships and those kind of things, if I didn't take time to just be with myself. What do I mean with that? I love being social. I love to talk, as you might see. Um, but I really need to charge my battery, and I do that best when I'm alone. So also for the people who are watching, you can let me know in the chat as well. But think about what is your way of recharging? Are you recharging easier when you're around people, when you're being social, or do you need time to be alone and to center yourself, or both? And then, if you know that, if you want to work on your business, it's so important to use quiet time. Something I've learned about being quiet and spending time alone is that my creativity just flows. If I don't do that, if I'm stressed all the time and I have a huge to do list and I keep on working, I don't feel the creativity the way that I do when I'm just centering myself and taking time to just feel. And I do that every morning, sometimes 5 minutes, sometimes 2 hours, sometimes half an hour. It doesn't really matter. I understand if you have a busy life, maybe if you have children or just a busy household, that it can be tough. But even if you do it for 5 minutes to just sit down, check in with yourself, and just don't turn on the noise yet. Something I'm sometimes struggling with as well. For example, in the past year, I've done a lot of TikTok content, and I've done it all in Dutch. Um, but I noticed that it was so tempting to just open my phone first thing in the morning, especially when I had certain videos that were going viral. Then I thought like, oh, I want to know, and it just took away the peace of my within my mind, and I started to perform less well. As in, I don't think you have the same type of energy and the same way that you ground yourself if you are scattered. If you have all these things going on within your mind, and if you put all the thoughts and comments and things of the world in your mind before you start listening to what's actually, well, coming up for yourself. So that's also something that I feel like no one talks about that if you're an entrepreneur. And that's for me, I cannot do it if I don't just take time for myself. So honestly, find a way that works for you. I love making my favorite drink. So I'm a big fan of cacao. And I don't just mean hot chocolate, like the healthy version, 100% cacao. And I love making it with a plant-based milk, some herbs, some spices. And it's just a moment for me to feel, okay, what wants to come up? And then my creativity starts to flow. And if you have a business or if you want to start a business, that is honestly all you need to start. if you can just be with yourself and let your ideas come up, that's exactly what's going to start your business when the noise is, well, turned down. So that's something that I wish people had told me before. I'm thinking of other lessons. Okay, my favorite quote is, "Where focus goes, energy flows." I know we see it all over the internet, but yet it's so powerful. Something I feel like people are teaching online is that, oh, you just need to manifest it. If you want your dream business, just create a vision board, write about it, and then you can just sit back and wait. Well, let me tell you, that's not how it works. It's not going to work. If I'm a big fan of having a vision, because if you don't know where you want to go, of course it's going to be difficult. You don't know which direction to go. However, you always need to do something. So whatever type of business you have or that you want to create, you need to send some form of energy. And I'd love to give you an example. So I've done a lot of work in sales. When I when I lived in Australia, I did door-to-door knocking and I was selling car services. I mean, I was 18. My English was all right, but I finished high school and the last thing that was my expertise were cars. Absolutely not. So I just tried to remember the script exactly like it was and started to, well, knock on doors and sell these car services. Anyways, what I learned from being in a sales position is that the more doors you knock, the higher the chances that someone will buy and that you will increase your sales. If I would just knock on one door and that person tells me, no, I'm not interested, and I would stop, that would be such a shame. You know how many doors I knocked on a day? I think I knocked about 100 doors every day. I didn't get paid I didn't get paid an hourly rate. I only got paid if I made a sale. And I did this for 1.5 years full time. And I loved it. I loved it because you know what I noticed? That the more, like I said, the more doors you knock, the higher the chances that someone will buy. You shouldn't stop just after 10 no's because that's something that was happening all the time. People would tell me all the time, "No, go away. I don't want to buy anything. This is annoying. Didn't you see the sign on the door?" All those kind of things. But then when there was this one person that said yes, I felt so good. I felt so high in my energy. So then when I knocked on the next door, most of the time I made another sale. And that's because my energy was so high. It was so full of, okay, I can do this, and people are excited to see me and people want to buy something. So it's super interesting. Something that I also do within my own businesses is I talk to businesses. As in, I send messages to people on LinkedIn. I try to, network. And something that I do believe in, especially with content creation, the more content you create, of course, the more people are going to find you. That's something that I also noticed on TikTok. So I've had a lot of companies that are doing something with AI ask me like, "Hey, do you want to promote this?" And yeah, we can arrange something, which of course it is nice, it is fun, but I almost never do it because I want to keep my integrity. I don't want to become a creator that just promotes anything to get quick cash. So I usually don't like to do it. But the point that I'm trying to make is that if you show up more, people are going to find you more. But you also need to do something yourself. So when I'm talking to all these companies and I'm sending them a message and I'm asking like, "Hey, maybe we can have a quick, I don't know, virtual coffee and talk about the situation around," if it's my AI business, I will say around AI. If it's another business, of course I will shapeshift. um, But yeah, then I always notice the more I do that, the more the ball keeps rolling and you have momentum. And I think where most people stop is that they try. Okay, I'm not even going to say most people. I'm going to say including myself. I don't have to pretend like this doesn't happen to me. But something that happens to me a lot is that I can be, oh, I want to try to make things perfect all the time. It's so annoying. It's so annoying. It can block me sometimes from where I want to go in my business. And something that I have learned is that the more you just do it and you just trust that you can, the easier it's going to get. And yeah, it's something that I still need to work on. That I think my way of blocking myself, and I want you to think about, what is this behavior that you do every time you're getting close to something that sabotages you, or something that blocks you. So think about that. I'm just going to give you an example. But I noticed, I think it was a couple of weeks ago, I was trying to make this offer of my one of my offers of my AI consultancy firm. Um, I was just trying to make it perfect. I was writing things down like, okay, this is what I'm going to offer. That's how many weeks we're going to work together. This is what we're going to do in week one. And then, after maybe 1 hour, I was looking through it and I thought, no, no, this is not going to work. So I would try again and again and again. And weeks would pass. And then I realized I'm really blocking myself, and I'm probably just afraid. I'm afraid that if I talk to clients and if I talk to companies, they will say yes. Because guess what happens? People will say yes. If you speak to enough people, they will say yes. And that's something that I've noticed. And um, yeah, I want to share something personal also. I'm sharing a lot of personal things, but I like to be open. In the last year, I have seen a lot of growth also within my income. And I think we all get to a point where we start to sabotage. So I've had this goal, I've had a certain goal. Okay, that's what I want to make in a month. And then I had this client that wanted to do it was a leadership trajectory of about 6 months. And I knew that if I would talk to them, because they had spoken to someone that I know, and that person said, "Okay, Marilyn will be great for this, so you should contact her." And I knew that if I would call them, they would probably say yes, and then my income goal, then I would have it. And you know what I noticed? That's so crazy. Instead of thinking, oh my gosh, I'm going to call them straight away. This is going to be amazing. It's going to be the goal that I have waited for such a long time. I didn't do it. I waited. I was waiting. And then, okay, after day one, I was like, should I call them? Yeah, but I don't know exactly what I'm going to say, how I'm going to put it into words. And then on day two, I thought, okay, no, I'm going to call them. They didn't pick up. And you know what I felt? I felt relief. And I was like, oh my God, how is that possible? It's something that I'm dreaming of. And I realized I was just sabotaging myself, because eventually when I spoke to them, indeed, we decided to work together. And that was exactly the thing that I was so afraid of. So think about that. What are the ways that you are trying to keep yourself safe? I think also something that I learned, someone once told me, most people are not afraid of failing, but they are afraid that they will succeed. And I thought, could that be though? Why would I be afraid to succeed? Everyone wants to succeed, right? But if we go a little bit deeper on that, if you succeed, let's say you have this dream, you have a dream of creating this business that just feels so good and just it makes you a lot of money. You can do exactly what you want. You can work from wherever you want, and you never have to worry about money again. You don't have to worry about finding clients and all those kinds of things. Just think about for a second, how would the people around you react? What do you think? And this is not a rhetorical question. It's not that I feel like, oh, I know the answer. No, not at all. But it's something that a lot of people deal with, including myself, that deep down, I was very afraid that if I would be successful, that maybe the people that I really love or people that are close to me would maybe not want to be around me anymore. And of course, if you think about it, the people that you love and the people that you are very close with, of course, true friends, they are going to support you. But don't be surprised if there is some sort of anxiety that you just don't want to feel better than anyone else because it makes other people feel uncomfortable. So that's something that I also had to learn. I noticed that not everyone likes it. People can feel triggered, certain friends can feel triggered. And because you don't want to lose someone, you might adjust and try to make everyone feel comfortable. So it might be that you're afraid of success because of what consequences that would have. It's not only people, obviously, like it could also be perhaps you would have to work a bit harder. That could be. Let's say you're very, very comfortable with the life that you have right now. You can just wake up whenever you want. You know exactly what to expect with work. You know exactly what to expect during the day. If you would grow and if you would have this business that you love so much, things will change. And just because it's different, that makes it feel unsafe for our bodies, which is crazy, right? Because it's probably not. It's not unsafe. It's just that we don't know it. So we rather stick with something that we already know, and we know for sure, okay, this is safe. I'll just stay stuck here instead of moving into a direction that is new and different. So think about that. And I think there's so much more to the inner work and entrepreneurship that you do together. So the main point of this video is that just know that in a positive way, the more you grow as a person, probably the better your business will do, and the other way around. So if you work a lot within your business and you notice like, hey, things are getting easier, um, we're growing, it's easier to, I don't know, deliver something that could be content or something for clients or something completely different, then you know that you are also growing inside of yourself. So that's something super, super interesting. I really hope that this will help you because these are lessons that I just wish that someone told me. So just to summarize, keep people around that inspire you, whether it's online or through books or through other places. Super important to just give you the energy when you need it to continue what you're doing because it's not comfortable. I think being an entrepreneur is one of the most hardcore things to do in your inner work journey because you learn so much. You cannot hide. You cannot say like, "Oh, it's just my boss. My boss is so annoying," or "It's because of the manager that things don't work out." Mm-mm. It's because of you. And I don't mean that in a negative way, but just in an empowering way that you know you are in charge if you have your own business. So use it. So number two that I was mentioning was money is related to self-worth and being able to receive. Just knowing this will change a lot of things. I'm 100% certain. Once you understand that, for example, you have a difficulty with receiving, and you want to, even if you want to find out, do I find it hard to receive? How do you react if someone gives you a compliment? What do you say? Are you saying, ah, no, no, I don't think so. Let's say someone says, "Oh, you look so nice." Ah, you think? You think, "Oh, it's just," in the Netherlands we do something. It's quite funny, but we say, "Oh, it's just from, I don't know, H&M, or it was just 10 euros." It's so crazy that we that we do this, but we do that for some reason. Um, is that the reaction that you give, or are you saying immediately, "Oh, thank you, you too," that you feel like, oh, I need to give a compliment back, because you might think that you are receiving, but you're not. So because immediately you're trying to give to someone else, like you want to give it back, like, oh, thank you, and you also look amazing. So try next time when you get a compliment to just say, thank you, thank you very much. That's it. And I think it's such a good way to practice receiving. And of course, there are many more ways that you can try or use to find out if you're able to receive. But just start small, and you will see that it will get easier to also receive in your business, and also to ask for higher prices. And again, I think most people, especially women, we tend to not ask for enough money. As in, we always feel like, ah, I don't want to ask for something that is so high, or it's probably not worth it, or I need more skills, I need more knowledge. No, you don't. You you just don't. There's just already so much you know. I'm sure that if you have a business idea, it's something that you're already so passionate about that you don't feel like you need more. Like that you are actually, what I'm trying to say, you might feel like you need more, but I feel like you don't need more because you already have the passion for something. So don't worry about that. You don't need any more skills, you don't need any more knowledge to just start. And of course, that makes us go back to point number 3. Keep on learning and make learning fun. That is also essential for your business. So just to start, don't get stuck on, I don't know enough or anything like that. But once you start, make sure that, of course, then you keep learning. And you will. I mean, if you're in the field working on your business, you are talking to people, or you're selling something, maybe a digital product or whatever it is, you will learn. And if you're just open and if you're just curious, then it should be absolutely fine. So that was point number 3. I think I'm mixing them up a little bit, but anyways, point number 4 that I was saying is to continue to make time for yourself every day, even if it's 5 minutes, even if it's 10 minutes, if it can be 2 hours, go for it. Some days I love doing that, and some days I just don't have the time, I don't have the luxury. So just to make sure that your creativity keeps on flowing, and that you stay aligned with what you want. Because if you're a little bit like me, I have the, I remember when I talked to someone of Tony Robbins, his team. So I went to um, Power Unleashed. It's in Germany. So it's this event. Um, and Tony Robbins, he's there for about 4 days, and you go through this whole personal development journey, which is just amazing. It's very American, but it's really, really fun. It's totally worth it. And I love Tony Robbins. I love how he speaks, and he's so passionate, and he's so good at just, no, I wanted to say controlling. That's not what I mean. But let's say being able to hold the container of so many people in the same room. There were about 40,000 people in that arena, and he just managed to keep like to just keep on getting everyone's attention. So cool. Anyways, so one of his I would say sort of business models is also doing coaching. So he has a big team with everyone that are coaching other people that went to the event. And this guy told me about the shiny object syndrome. And I'm sure that many entrepreneurs can relate to this, but it basically means you see potential in everything. So let's say you are okay, you want to give certain workshops around AI, and you think that's such a good idea. It's so trending. Like I should do that. It's going to be great, and you start focusing on that. Then a week later, there's this other business idea, completely different, but you think that would be amazing. That could be an amazing business. And what happens is that you have all these ideas and you just keep on hopping from idea to idea, and you don't actually follow through with something long enough to build something sustainable. And that's something that many people might recognize, but it's very important to be aware of it. I'm not saying just choose only one thing, but I am saying try to stick to something long enough to find out if it works. And if you want to do three things at the same time, be my guest, but at least try for a little bit longer, because this whole instant gratification culture, it sort of stops us from wanting to build something a bit longer than we expected to need, as in the time that we need. We all want something that's immediately there. If we want a business, let's say you want a side hustle, you want your money tomorrow. That's the culture that we are in. We think, okay, I want a side hustle. I'm willing to work on that for a day or 2 days. But if I'm not seeing any results, then I'm going to quit. That's not how it works. And I just want to say, don't fall for the instant gratification culture, and just continue to try and do your best to stick to something, and you will see results. You will. And the longer you do it, the more easy it gets to find out what's getting in the way. But anyways, I'm really, really happy that you were here and that you watched this whole video. And yeah, just let me know in the comments if you are an entrepreneur or if you want to start something, and maybe also either a lesson that you've learned or maybe something you're struggling with. Because I think a lot of other people would love to read that as well, to find out, okay, what are other people going through, and to know that they are not alone. So anyways, I wish you a beautiful day or evening or whatever time it is, and I hope to see you next time.